welcome to SveNFL.
What's up, y'all?
It's Jonathan Rollins.
Schif Massara.
And we're two Americans living in Sweden, watching the last chapter of the United States of America.
I would like to propose a toast.
Okay.
To the end of democracy. It had a good run.
Yeah, we did. We went longer than we should have gone.
Honestly, yeah. I mean, we had a great run. It was fun while it lasted. Ladies, I'm sorry, but your vaginas no longer belong to you.
They stocked the fridge at this hotel. I think I'm gonna have a drink with you.
Hey now.
Yeah, I'm on tour, man. This is
I'm just having one of these for now, but I'm going out later to until I get fucking absolutely sideways.
But are you gonna watch no, I guess you can wake up and watch the results.
No, I'm gonna go to I'm going to the opening of the Stockholm Film Festival tonight.
Okay. So you're gonna get shit-faced no matter what.
I'm gonna get absolutely fucking blasted and try not to look at my phone. And you and I both know that they ain't gonna know shit until at least tomorrow or the next day.
Yeah.
Can we talk about how like some people like this is so okay? November 5th, right? It's election day.
Yeah.
It's NFL trade deadline day.
Yeah.
And it's also the day that they released the first rankings for the college football playoffs.
Big day.
It's
big day all around.
What is happening?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I take a lot of I take some comfort. You and I talk about politics and the election and off mic quite a bit. You seem much calmer about this than I do. I was literally, it's so funny because, you and I have both been doing some like TV hits here and there on SVT and the part we talked the other day, the SVT morning studio calls me because you recommended that they call me. Yeah. The part I didn't tell you is that I was literally sitting on the toilet taking a shit when this guy calls and says, yeah, we want to have you on to do like a lighthearted segment about the election to talk about like, what kind of snacks do you like to eat when you watch the results come in? And I'm sitting there on the toilet and I'm like, bitch, no. I'm like, oh yes, I'd like to have a nice baked brie with a jalapeno peach jam is sort of my go-to snack when democracy is unraveling at the seams. You know what I mean? It's like, nah, bro, you want a snack guy? Call somebody else. I don't want to come on and talk about fucking snack.
Playoffs? Don't talk about playoffs. Yeah. You kidding me?
Exactly.
That was the tone you had.
Yeah, I was like, he was funny too because he was like super Swedish. Like he realized that he may have like touched a nerve,
Yeah,
like, well, just so you know, we're gonna have like serious conversations about the election too. I was like, yeah, I know what you're doing.
Well, I'll talk to you about that shit. Talk to me. They'll talk to Swedes about the seriousness and then joke with us.
Yeah. I was like, you want to know what's up? Tune in at fucking 3:30. I'm going to be live on SVT talking this shit, which I was yesterday.
Okay.
It was good. We got into it.
How do you feel? Like, were you on there with a Trumper or something?
I was on there with a guy who claims to be a Republican, but he was not. He was very critical of Trump. He struck me as one of those like fiscal Republicans.
Yeah.
He was kind of funny, actually. As soon as the cameras turned off, he's like, man, I feel like a bad Republican. I didn't say anything nice about them on the show.
I mean, they let the party get taken over by a fascist madman.
Totally.
What else can we say?
For me, like I said, you seem much more calm about this, which I love. Mm. I'm quietly kind of freaking out because that's how I felt 8 years ago when he ran against Hillary. I was like, he's not going to win. That's ridiculous. And I underestimated. I'm also really just...
Sometimes they got to see it, and they got to see it. They got to see what he would be like as president, and then they're dumb enough to put him back up. So it's like, all right, they saw it, they rejected it already, and now you put it back up.
The thing that sucks too is that it's not really just about the election. It's about all the shit that's going to happen after the election, which has me really concerned as well.
This is different. I mean, that happened. That's another reason he shouldn't be elected, because he allowed that shit to happen.
Oh, of course. I agree with that.
The president in power right now won't allow it. It's not going to happen.
I'm just really concerned something horrible is going to happen today or tomorrow.
Guess who's going to certify this election?
Tell me.
Kamala Harris. She's the vice president.
Yeah, that's true, actually.
So she's going to certify the election. So it's not going to be that hang Mike Pence shit that they did.
She's like, oh, I won?
I'll just make it official on January 6th.
Where my gavel at?
Exactly. Where my gavel at? They should make that a t-shirt with Kamala Harris like, where my gavel at? Yeah, so I got a feeling it's going to be, we turn the page. As she's saying, turn the page. She's ending on a positive note. He's ending on a really negative attack note and lying and all of this stuff and being disgusting. So I feel like America, we believe in good sports since we were kids. And I think the older women, I said it off mic, the older women are going to come through. Older women.
It reminds me of, I was going to say this on TV yesterday, but the opportunity never popped up. But there's this really famous Winston Churchill quote about America.
Oh, yeah.
Where he said, I'm paraphrasing, he said, Americans will always do the right thing, but not until they've tried everything else.
Yeah.
I think he kind of pegged
O'Donnell said it. What's the guy named Lawrence whatever on MSNBC? He said that.
Lawrence O'Donnell, yeah. I think Churchill was a clever motherfucker. He totally nailed us on that one. But speaking of teams that have turned the page, should we talk about the New York Jets?
Yeah. They played I was gonna say they played a team that limped out of the game. And
Yes.
But they should have won bigger though. They had a really boneheaded New York Jets play that kept them from getting another touchdown.
Yeah. Well, okay, so the good news for Jets fans is that they finally broke a 5-game losing streak. Mm-hmm. This game was pretty interesting. It was a tale of two halves for Aaron Rodgers and the Jets. In the first half, Rodgers was 7 for 14, 32 yards, 0 touchdowns, and a 56.2 passer rating. Second half, 15 for 18, 179 yards, 3 touchdowns, 147.7 passer rating. 3 touchdowns on only 3 drives in the second half. So he was kind of nails when it mattered. Yeah. Like you said, the Texans were in a lot of injury issues. Their offensive line has been, quietly pretty bad.
Was it 8 sacks or something crazy like that?
It was something like that. And they also had a ton of penalties. What was it?
Yeah, 8 sacks.
8 sacks. I mean, Stroud was really they were living in the backfield. Stroud was 11th for 30, 115 yards.
Man, he kept doing that fucking rollout. The quarterback, my least favorite quarterback move. He kept doing it. That little back rollout. Tannehill used to do that shit all the time. I forget who else did it. He did that thing to get out of field goal range twice.
I felt really bad for the rookie for the Jets. That was the boneheaded play that you were referring to. Malachi Corley. He dropped the ball before he crossed the goal line. It's a rookie mistake. It's only the second time he's ever touched the ball. It's just the worst thing that could happen to a rookie for sure. To anyone.
Yeah, but he's a Jets player.
I know. I actually kind of had a bit of a thing for Malachi Corley coming out of the draft. I wasn't happy that he made it to the Jets, but he was a really, really fun college football player out of Western Kentucky who plays a lot like Debo. I mean, this guy plays so much like Debo Samuel. It's like scary how good I think this kid could be. So I really hope that he's able to survive that mistake and the Jets. Everybody's talking about the Garrett Wilson catch, obviously.
Man, I hate the Jets with a deep passion that burns within, but every time I saw it, I was like, they can't overturn this. Please let this be a catch. Despite,
I actually find it all a little confusing, to be honest with you. We had about a week ago, what was it? The George Pickens same foot double tap,
Yeah.
which is obviously no catch. And then you have Garrett Wilson taps the left foot and then the left shin, and somehow that's a catch. I don't know. I just think it's a little strange.
It's gonna be a rarity. We know a catch.
Also, the other thing that I think is weird too, like a lot of times, like if you see a receiver catch the ball in the back of the end zone and his toe is in bounds and his heel is off the ground, but then the heel touches, then it's not a catch. But it's like Garrett Wilson's shin was in bounds, but his knee was out of bounds. So it's like, what's the difference?
Well, the shin hit first.
I know, but I'm saying the same is true if your toe hits first and then your heel goes down.
Oh, and then the heel, yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'm like, this is all a little weird and confusing.
That's a good point, man. I didn't think about the shin, knee, heel, toe argument.
Exactly.
I didn't think about the shin, knee, heel, toe correlation, as they call it in court.
Yeah. It's a sneaky big problem.
Yes,
okay?
I agree.
It happens all the time.
Just like fumbling it out of the end zone for 2 points, and then the defense gets the touchback. You know, that whole argument.
You and I have famously disagreed on that point, but we don't need to go down that road again. Honestly, we can stop talking about the Jets because honestly, all I want to do is talk about the Falcons, who won 27-21. This game was never in doubt. Don't let the Cowboys' garbage time points fool you, because America's team, they rolled into the A and they just got absolutely fucking handled. Yeah. They had multiple failed fourth down attempts, including a failed fake punt. That was one of the most ridiculous plays I think I've ever seen. They also had a fourth down attempt where they got penalized for having too many men on the field. Like, what the fuck? What the fuck are you doing?
Trying to sneak it by.
It was just an absolute joke. It was a joke all night long. The Cowboys defense, they got to Kirk Cousins a few times, but but we're the worst team in the league when it comes to sacks. The Falcons got 3 sacks in this game.
Oh, wow.
That should tell you how bad they are. And we just gashed them. They had no answer for Drake London. They had no answer for Darnell Mooney, Bijan Robinson. Fucking even Ray McLeod got a fucking passing touchdown in this game.
Dak's out for a while, right?
Everything went from bad to worse because Dak, he was on the sidelines with what looked like some sort of a hand injury. His hand was bleeding, but then they announced that he was out because of a hamstring. They're saying he's probably going to miss multiple weeks. CeeDee Lamb also got injured in this game. It was a shoulder injury of some kind. He's considered week to week. So the Cowboys are looking at a situation where, one of the most top-heavy teams in the league, with 3 great players at the top and a shit roster underneath that, I don't know. I honestly, the Cowboys are just an absolute embarrassment this year.
You are trash.
So yeah, great win for the Falcons, obviously.
However,
your Dolphins.
I was in our chat. I didn't see you in there this week. I was
I don't like to get in that chat when the game is on.
I was in the chat, and there was another. We have a Dolphins fan that was in there too, and I was just like, prepare for the heartbreak. Prepare. Like, this game is not painful enough to just lose, get blown out, whatever. That's the easy way to lose. No, we got to make you have hope. Make you have hope, and then rip the agony of defeat from the thrill of victory. And that's what we did, a 61-yard field goal made at the end of the game by a guy who missed an extra point and banged another one off. Banged another extra point off the upright earlier into the. It's like, he's off. He's off.
I forgot about that.
It's like, this is the way. How can we make this as painful as possible? Let the kicker make a 61-yarder who's missed an extra point. They miss an extra point, they lose that point, and they chase that extra point. Of course they're going to make the two-point conversion later. Why would they not?
You're right. Because I remember when I saw him miss that extra point, I was sitting there, I was like, historically speaking, you would think of all teams, the Buffalo Bills would make it their mission in life to have the best field goal kicker on the face of the planet. Like, how can you have a guy out here missing an extra point after all the shit that you've been through with field goal kickers?
And then later he bangs one off the upright again. It's like, oh shit, he is off, and it bounced in, and everybody's like, oh. And then at the end of the game, 61-yarder, right down the middle, whop, right there, just like end your life, Dolphins fans. It's over. It's like the season is over. I went into my seasonal. I don't get affected by the lack of sunlight in Sweden, like some people do.
You don't get seasonal affective disorder?
No, it's I get seasonal alert. Dolphins dead. That's what I get. SADD. Seasonal alert. Dolphins are dead. So yeah, that's it for us, man. I need to have you know what we should have in the soundboard? We need to have the death music when a team's season is over. And we can declare a team's season over. I think that's a new feature that we'll have in the future, where we just say, I'm sorry, team, it's over. Dun, 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 dun. I'm gonna do that.
Yeah, we should pop that off very quickly. Like, I was thinking in the next episode, we are at the midway point in the season. Maybe we need to have sort of a mid-season report card. Who's dead, who's clinging to life, who's living their best life, that kind of thing.
We should do it as if I had time, I'd set up a video thing where, like at the end of the Oscars, when they show all the actors who've passed on.
In memorandum.
In memoriam. In memoriam the 2024 season. Here lie the Miami Dolphins, Tennessee Titans, New Orleans Saints, New England Patriots. Oh, here lies them who fought hard at the beginning of the season. The Patriots won the first game of the season, gave us all hope. Yeah.
Well, the one of those teams that would be in that video montage that you're referring to would be the Las Vegas Raiders, who lost 24-41 to the Cincinnati Bengals. My man, former Bulldog Brock Bowers, got himself a touchdown, but that is about the only nice thing I can say about the Raiders, because Joe Burrow carved these boys up with 5 touchdown passes. Trey Hendrickson had 4 sacks all by his damn self. Chase Brown had a day with 120 rushing, 37 receiving, and a touchdown. Your guy, former Dolphin, Mike Gesicki, had 2 touchdown catches. He looked good in this game.
Did he? I didn't see if he grittied or not. I love his ugly ass gritty.
He did gritty. He did gritty, and he went and grabbed Jamar Chase and was like, hey, what's this?
Oh, no.
Let's see. Oh, you know what? This game got so bad for the Raiders that they turned to former Falcon Desmond Ridder at one point to come into the game. Desmond Ridder was actually the guy who threw the touchdown pass to Brock Bowers, oddly enough.
Oh, wow.
And then
I saw that.
Monday morning, the Raiders woke up and they had a Monday morning massacre. The entire offensive coaching staff was fired.
Oh, I didn't know this.
Oh, yes. Luke Getsy, the offensive coordinator, as well as the passing coordinator, the offensive line coach, like everybody affiliated with the offense of the Raiders got fired on Monday morning.
Is it because they were like coaching for? They were what was it? Making business decisions? What?
I don't know.
He done, man. I told you.
But Antonio Pierce is next. You're absolutely correct.
It's a shit show.
He's next.
He was in over his head, and it's not. He might coach in the future and do well, but we said this last year. Don't listen to fucking Max Crosby.
Yeah, absolutely. We can move on to the next game. The Chargers beat the Browns 27-10. The Jameis Winston hype train crashed into a wall just like I said it would. Bro threw a bucket load of interceptions, 3 in total.
He's like, I'm behind, man. I started this game. Like, I'm missing out on some games. I got to throw some picks, man.
And honestly, he could have thrown 5. Before he actually threw his first interception, He threw another one right into a Chargers linebacker's hands, and he dropped it. And I was like, how is this happening? Like, have the football gods decided to? And then nope. Yeah. No.
Those of you watching the video version of this, I was sucking on L's.
Yeah. Yeah. No. His luck ran out pretty quickly. He threw 3 interceptions. The Chargers defense dominated the Browns in every aspect of the game. These 10 point, they scored a touchdown super late in the game. They had 3 points on the board for most of the game. They were able to hold my man, former Bulldog Nick Chubb, to only 39 yards. J.K. Dobbins ran all over the Browns D. Took it to the house twice. Even Quentin Johnson, who couldn't catch a cold last year, I mean, he was catching everything. I mean, the Chargers look pretty good. I saw a lot of people buying into the Browns suddenly making a midseason turnaround. I'm here to say I don't buy it.
Come on, man.
Yeah, I honestly, we'll get into the trade deadline stuff in the next episode. I think the Browns will be sellers at the trade deadline. There's a lot of people out there looking for pieces, and they have some good ones. I think they need to let go of some of those guys.
Yeah.
And begin their rebuild, right? Because it's not like Jameis Winston is the future, you know? They got to figure out what the hell they're doing next year.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, okay, so Patriots lost to the Tennessee Titans in overtime.
Making us lose out on our Sunday, Monday parlay where we said we just bet I forgot to bet on Thursday. We would have got that wrong anyway. But I bet on Sunday every game besides the Thursday game, and this is the only one we got wrong on our flip and pick 'em. So our flip and pick 'em bet was going to be huge. All we needed was the Patriots to come through and get this victory.
And it was so close too, because Drake May had this crazy game-tying touchdown pass on the final play of the game, of regulation anyway, that sent it to overtime. The dude was scrambling in the pocket forever for like 15 seconds.
Yeah, that was dope.
But that was pretty much the end of the magic, because the Titans got the ball first. They kicked a field goal, and then they followed it up by picking off Drake May for the walk-off win. As far as the rest of the game, Tony Pollard looked fantastic in this game. Calvin Ridley looked pretty good. Nick Westbrook-Akine played well. You don't normally hear his name very often.
Right.
But at the end of the day, this is just a bad team beating another bad team, right?
Yeah. Yep.
An overtime shit bowl that nobody asked for, and frankly, could have gone either way. So, good for the Titans. What do they have? 2 wins now, or 3 wins or some shit? It's like, whatever.
3, yeah. Must be nice.
Yeah, on to some slightly more interesting teams. We got the Commanders beating the Giants 27-22. This was a little closer than I had expected. And Daniel Jones did a pretty good job of keeping his team in this one, but it just wasn't enough for this juggernaut that is Jaden Daniels. I mean, the Commanders...
He's the real deal, bro.
The Commanders are off to a 7...
You know what? I want to say something real quick before we go into that. Jaden Daniels looks like the real deal in his first year. We're all surprised at how his game is translated to the NFL. Mm-hmm. We had the same feeling about CJ Stroud last year.
Yep.
He's on the same path. But CJ Stroud is really having a sophomore slump this year. Mm-hmm. So I want everybody pump the brakes a little bit.
Yep.
Pump the brakes a little bit. That's all I want to say. Continue.
Absolutely. So I agree with you. Like, pump the brakes, but I would also argue enjoy the moment while it's here. Yeah. Right? It's been a long time since the Commanders have had anything to cheer for. They've got new ownership. They've got a new face of the franchise, and they are off to a 7-2 start for the first time in almost 30 years.
Nice.
The first rookie to sweep the New York Giants ever.
Oh. Yeah, there's still the shit.
He had an average day by his standards. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I would say that the team looks a little different without Brian Robinson Jr. in the lineup.
True.
Austin Eckler, he does fairly well, but he's he ain't him.
Limited. Yeah, he ain't him. He's a part. He could be them. Like he could play. He could be running back by committee. I am them.
I'm them.
I'm them.
But I mean, they sit atop the division. One game.
I can't wait till we have a trans football player.
I'm them. We're us.
We're us. Nobody can stop us. We are they, them.
I think it's fun. I hope the Commanders can keep it up. The Eagles are kind of starting to get a little better and nipping at their heels. They're right behind them. They obviously don't need to worry about the Giants or the Cowboys.
Yeah.
The Cowboys are falling off of a cliff. Which, falling off of a cliff, I guess that brings me to the New Orleans Saints. Losing
That's for you. That's for you.
Yes, the New Orleans Saints have lost to the Carolina Panthers 23-22.
This was our first flip 'em, pick 'em coin flip game, right?
That's true.
And I couldn't decide who was going to win this game, so we left it up to the Magic Coin, and the Magic Coin called it right.
It did.
If we would have won that bet, it would have been because of the coin. But we lost it. That's because of the Patriots. But yeah.
I mean, how do you lose to the lowly Panthers, honestly? Shout out to Bryce Young for leading a game-winning drive. You got to give him some flowers for that. He got a lot of help from some very stupid penalties by the Saints.
But it's not like the Saints have a defensive-minded coach. Oh.
Well, now they don't have a coach. He's been fired. And of course, when you fire your coach, you turn to the special teams coordinator to take over. I mean, I don't even know what that's going to look like. The worst thing that happened,
embarrassed and totally ashamed.
Agreed. The worst thing that happened to the Saints, besides embarrassing themselves by losing to the Panthers, was Chris Olave getting his head damn near knocked off thanks to Derek Carr's hospital ball, literally a hospital ball that sent Olave to the hospital. Yep. Very, very scary moment that I hate to see for anyone, even if it is a Saints player.
Yeah. He said he's okay, though. He tweeted, I'm all right. So that's good.
Saints won their first 2 games of the season in blowout fashion. Since then, they've dropped 7 straight, and they now find themselves tied with the Panthers. But at least they re-signed Alvin Kamara to a new deal to further complicate their record cap problem they're going to have next year. Fucking ridiculous. I have more to say about the Saints later. So we can move on to the Ravens just whooping up on the Broncos 41-10. I think the Ravens were still pissed off after that loss last week to the Browns, because they came out and just laid the wood on the Denver Broncos. Lamar threw 3 touchdowns. Derrick Henry had 2 touchdowns. Zay Flowers, Jesus Christ, 127 yards and 2 TDs on only 5 catches. This was all Ravens all day. Bo Nix caught a touchdown pass in like a Philly special type play, which was cool. But ultimately, the Ravens were like, "Yeah, okay, fine, whatever, sure. Fuck you."
Good job.
They just took their head and stuck it in the door and just went slam, 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 slam. Yeah,
that's dope. Yeah, I think they got the memo that they're supposed to lose to bad teams, so they were like, "We're up for this one. We're not going to lose another game to a team we should definitely not lose to."
Look, the Broncos have a very interesting record. I didn't expect them to have a winning record at this point in the season. That being said,
I did though.
They haven't played a lot. They haven't played very many good teams at this point. So
I still thought they would be better than last year. Remember, they ended on a nice streak.
Bo Nix has played better than I had anticipated. I'm not going to lie. He has played a lot better than I thought he would. So, they might have something there next year, but
we do not care.
Exactly. Speaking of things that I increasingly do not care about, is the Chicago Bears. I genuinely do not like this team. Is so much hype around this team going into the year.
I love it.
Whatever, bro. Like, fucking show me something.
I'm here to tell you right now. We don't care.
Let me tell you.
That's how I feel too, man.
I mean, the Bears offense, Caleb Williams specifically, I mean,
it should take. Man, we said this before the season. Some of these teams came into the season despite a plethora of quality coaches sidelined, decided to take their mediocre coach into the season, and the Bears should not be 4-4, and they should not be putting up 9 points when they spent all this money. So it's about time, man. Eberflus, sayonara. He should have been gone before the season.
It's that, and also I'm also reading a lot about how, I forget his name. Is it Shane Waldron, the offensive coordinator? A lot of people are kind of dunking on this guy. I mean, they have so much
love.
Yeah, they have so much talent on paper. You got Keenan Allen, DJ Moore, Roma Dunze, my man, former Bulldog DeAndre Swift, Caleb Williams. I mean, and they were starting to get a little better every week after week one.
Cole Kmet, right? Is he still?
Cole Kmet, yeah. I mean, they were looking better week after week after week one, but I feel like in the last couple of weeks they just look worse.
Agree.
And Caleb in this game specifically was doing a lot of like really, really dumb college football quarterback type things where he was rolling out to his right. He had a guy wide open 5 yards downfield, but continues to roll out because he's like, yeah, but what if that guy going down the field, what if the big play opens up? You know what I mean? Like he's looking for the home run balls where it's like, kid, move the ball down the field, move the chains, score touchdown. You're not going to do these 1-2 play touchdown drives in the NFL. It's not going to happen,
Agreed.
And he looks like he's looking for that shit. Now, the Cardinals, on the other hand, are actually starting to look like a kind of a fun football team, right? Mm-hmm. Kyler Murray looks kind of fun. James Conner is running hard, super hard. Trey McBride is a lot of fun too. I think, I think people need to start paying attention to the Cardinals a little bit.
Nice. I got something to say about that later.
One team that we can just completely stop paying attention to would be the Jacksonville Jaguars because they lost 28-23. I mean,
Trevor
honestly,
Lawrence, generational.
Yeah, generational. You know what's generational? Something that I've never seen before in my entire life of watching football. Saquon Barkley doing a backwards hurdle after juking out. Dude,
almost called you the N-word just now. Because that's what you got to say. Black people, we can say it, man. When you see a play like that, we go, nigga. I was like, I saw it. I kept watching it over and over again. This is one of the best plays I've seen in my life, man.
It's crazy.
I'll talk about it later, too.
It has to be one of the top 5 greatest plays in football history.
Insane. Like, to do that with your body, man.
Because everything that led up to it, too. He juke cuts one guy, spins out of another tackle, and look like
I get a finger cramp thinking about doing it on the PlayStation. Like the analog, the R2, L2. It's like, damn.
T-Law figured out a way to make it look interesting despite going 16 for 31, no touchdowns and 2 picks, but the Jags just couldn't run the ball. One of those picks came off of, Ingram just, it went off of his hands and that was that. Right now the Jags just don't really have anybody to throw the ball to. Obviously Christian Kirk's done for the year. Who's the rookie?
Ingram.
No, the rookie receiver out of LSU. I can't think of his name right now. Anyway, he didn't play.
Brian
Thomas. Right? Brian Thomas.
He got hurt, right? He was in.
Was he in? I thought he got hurt last week. Well, whatever. They just did not look good at all. I don't think we need to worry about them for the rest of the year. Yeah. AFC
is like it's like sugar or shit. There's no like in between teams this year.
Bro,
Sugar or shit.
There are an extremely large amount of 2-win football teams right now.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy.
It gives me hope. It gives me hope as a Dolphins fan.
Yeah, it's nuts.
Go on a run. You could steal a wild card spot.
Hmm.
Go ahead, man. I couldn't segue it.
Well, we go from the bottom of the basement to the cream of the crop. We go Detroit Lions 24-14 over the Packers. Okay. I would like to formally apologize to Jared Goff for doubting this man's abilities in an outdoor game, and especially one like this where the rain is basically just like pissing sideways, because Goff did it again. He was damn near perfect. I read somewhere before this game, and I think it's still true. The Detroit Lions have more touchdowns than Goff has incompletions this year.
Yeah, incompletions. Wow,
that's insane.
Yeah, he only had 4 that game too. And they had 3 touchdowns. Wow.
Amon-Ra Brown showed up. Amon-Ra St. Brown showed up showed up to Lambeau with a hoodie that said Green Bay sucks on it, which, not the smartest idea in my opinion, but at least he backed it up with a sick toe tap touchdown. That was really nice. The Lions defense deserves a lot of credit for holding the Packers to only 2 field goals until the fourth quarter.
Do you think they're like, let's do it for Hutchinson? Is that the attitude?
Probably.
They seem to have like gotten a spark since he went down.
I mean, it always sounds kind of stupid to say this, but in this case, I think it's real. I think the Lions have, as far as culture is concerned, I think the Lions have something going on in that locker room right now that is the kind of thing you can't put on a stat sheet.
I've got controlled fury.
Yeah.
I'm ready to go.
He has got something cooking in that locker room that doesn't show up on a stat sheet. It you can't quantify it. It's real. It's special. I hope they stay special or
I'm
healthy.
I'm so glad they didn't because remember at the beginning it was rocky and it felt like just only coach speak, blah 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 bullshit. They had some like weird firings in the middle of that season. They had the so many clips of him in press conferences, and they held it. They held it down. The ownership kind of stuck with it. The front office stuck with it. And now it all came to fruition, and this is how you support your coach if you believe in him. Well done, man.
They got I agree with you 100%. They got great contributions all over the field. They had Kirby Joseph with the pick 6 for the Lions was great. The rest of the defense kind of stifled Jordan Love for the majority of the game. In their building, terrible weather. It wasn't a super pretty win. But in some ways, I would argue it's kind of their most impressive win. It's obviously it's fun to blow out a team, but the Lions are proving they can beat teams in just about any condition that you want, which to me is a very important sign of a true Super Bowl contender, I think.
Yeah, man. I thought you picked the Lions to go to Super Bowl, right? Because I picked the Rams,
so.
And that's the next team that we'll talk about who don't seem to be rolling over, man.
No.
The Rams are fucking, man, they're coming back with a vengeance. They played the Seahawks. It's a division team, and they beat them, as we said they would. And Matt Stafford, man, he's looking like that dude, man. Him and Geno.
And, honestly, Seahawks kind of looked like they had this one in the bag in the first half. Geno was balling the fuck out. The Rams lost Puka Nacua. He got ejected for throwing a punch.
And we got to see both sides of Geno.
Yeah, and they held the Rams to only a field goal in the first half. But as you suggested, my man, former Bulldog Matthew Stafford, he ain't got no quit in his game. All knotted up. Going into the fourth quarter, tie ball game. And then Rams Cameron Kitchens picks off Geno in the end zone and turns that pick into 6, 103-yard pick 6. Seahawks tied it up late, sent it to overtime.
Yeah.
Stafford finds DeMarcus Robinson, who hauls in the beautiful diving one-handed catch for the walk-off winner. I mean, it doesn't get any prettier than that.
Beautiful.
Seahawks fall to 4-5. The Rams are back to 500 at 4-4. You're right. They just refuse to quit. the Rams are like, we're going to keep going.
I hold fast with that. McVay might be the best coach, man. Mm-hmm. If he wins the Super Bowl with this team, and it's not with this incarnation of the team, you know what I'm saying?
That would be crazy.
This version, it would be crazy because the first time he did it, we all were like pointing at, you bought it, because they built that team with trades, with free agency. This team he built through the draft, and he seems re-energized because of that. Like, this is what got him motivated, because he was thinking about retiring early.
Yep.
And it's looking like it's cool, man. I can't wait to that. What we thought would be the NFC Championship game, and I think it still could be Rams versus Lions. Two coaches that are so different from each other, but so effective, going at it. Oof, NFC's looking great this year.
Yeah, it is very much so. Speaking of the NFC, you got the Vikings out here. Finally, they were on a 2-game skid, and they got their shit together. They beat up on the Colts 21-13. A lot of people have been talking shit about the Vikings defense these last couple of weeks. Like, oh no, what's happening? How are they going to handle Joe Flacco and Jonathan Taylor?
Bruh.
They held Flacco to just over 150 yards passing. They picked him off. They held the Colts run game to only 68 yards in total. Obviously, it helps when the Colts commit 7 penalties as well. That's also very helpful.
Darnold threw penalties.
Yeah, Darnold threw a couple of picks too, which obviously wasn't great. He also, I think, he had a fumble too. Score could have been much, much worse, but at the end of the day, Darnold also threw 3 touchdown passes. They're
really highlighting Brian Flores a lot, because in 2 years this team has gone from worst defense in the NFL, laughable defense in the NFL, where Kirk Cousins is just like trying to pull them out of losses every week because the defense just can't do anything, to one of the top defenses in the league in such a short turnaround. And he's just pacing the sidelines and getting in Flacco's head, man. It was fun to see the little mental matchup between Flores and Joe Flacco. It felt like it was him and Flacco instead of him and and the offensive coordinator. It was fun to see, man. I'm glad for him, but I'm really glad for the Vikings too, man, because everybody was counting them out when that rookie went down.
Yeah, I mean, the NFC North continues to be one of the funnest divisions in football right now.
It's the best,
Everybody's so good. And, there's still so many divisional matchups to come in the second half of the season. So it's just going to be fascinating to see how this all shakes out. Which brings us to our final matchup. Monday Night Football. And your guy, Baker Mayfield, he did
my guy.
Everything that he could.
Yeah.
He really did.
He's the best, man. I love this guy.
He went toe-to-toe with the Super Bowl champs, took them to overtime. But at the end of the day, Patrick Mahomes
he's Patrick Mahomes.
He does. Normally we record these episodes in the morning, so a lot of times I just see the short highlights of the Monday night game. But since we're doing this in the afternoon, I sat down this morning and watched the game in 40, and it's like, you just can't help but sit there and like kind of laugh when it's like, she does it. That play where he runs right up to the line of scrimmage, and the lineman's coming at him, and then he just does like a basketball toss over him into the end zone. You're just like,
full control, man.
What are you supposed to do? Like, how are you supposed to fucking stop this guy?
Just bow to greatness.
I thought the funniest moment in this game was actually the game goes to overtime, and Baker Mayfield and Patrick Mahomes go to the middle of the field for the coin toss. And as soon as Mayfield realizes that they've lost the coin toss, he throws his head back and he's just like, damn. Like, he just knew right there.
I'm not getting the ball.
Fuck, I'm not going to get to touch the ball. Like, even he knew it was over at that point.
Yeah. He's still my guy, though.
He's a great guy. He's a great guy to be your guy. You know what I mean? I got to admit. And I watched that thing that you told me about, the thing where he He dresses up like what do you call him? Gus Swayze?
Yeah.
He dresses up as like a normal Bucks fan and does the tour of the
No,
facilities.
none of them are normal. Those Bucks fans.
That's true. They were not. These people had some real lack of social skills for sure. But yeah, I mean, honestly, the big difference in this game was the Chiefs' offense really just looks like it's starting to click in a way that it hasn't. I mean, the fact that they can just go pick Kareem Hunt up off the streets and he can come in and go 106 yards and a touchdown. He had the game-winning touchdown. Kelsey had probably one of his best games of the year with 100 yards receiving. DeAndre Hopkins, 86 yards and 2 touchdowns. He's only been in the building for 2 weeks, and the guy looks like he's been there for years. So, shout out to the Bucs defense for making it difficult for sure. And obviously Baker for just trying to, I mean, this would have been such a money fucking victory for Baker Mayfield had he managed to pull this off. It really would have been. But the Chiefs are the Chiefs, man, and they still remain as the only undefeated team in the NFL, which is like, they continue to have this kind of inevitable feeling about them. It's like really weird. It's really, really strange. But yeah.
Well, that was the games. We were so close to nailing our bet, man. It sucks when it's that close. When I see it was going to be a lot of money. I was like, oh, but we'll get it next time. As for the MVP, man, I could do my real MVP. Because I don't care what anybody says or any stats that happened this week. Blah, blah, blah. Stats. I don't care about that. Joe Burrow, fuck your 5 touchdowns. Alvin Kamara, fuck what you did. Tony Pollard, whatever. It was cute. Lamar Jackson, nice try. Saquon Barkley had the fucking play of the year, play of the decade, play of the millennium. Yes, millennium too, yeah. Of course, he also had a good game stats-wise, but he did a fucking backwards hurdle butt first. Landed on his feet. He didn't get upended. Landed on his feet and still got a couple more yards after juking somebody out of their shoes. It was like it was a masterclass. I think he put the game in everybody else's defense. I think he put the game on pro instead of all Madden, but we'll still investigate that later. But it was amazing, and I think because of that, I got to say, Mr. Saquon Barkley, we all knew this already, but let us know again.
You the real MVP.
Yeah, it's hard to argue with that. I had a feeling that you were going to go Saquon, so I just kind of went another direction. I went with your guy, former Dolphin Mike Gesicki, 5 catches for 100 yards and 2 touchdowns. He did a great job with T. Higgins out of the lineup. But I would argue that the Bengals need to figure out a way to get this man the ball, even when they do have all their pieces on the field.
Yeah.
A high degree of predictability has been the general reason for the Bengals' regression, in my opinion. It's time to get a little more creative and try to keep the opponents guessing a little bit.
Might be the coach.
Could be, yeah. Yeah.
Problem is, I can tell you the problem is that he can't block for shit. So when he comes on the field, you kind of know that's a receiver that's not as fast as a receiver. It's kind of
but they have.
That's why we got rid of him.
They have a host of other tight ends that can block.
Right, but then you got a tight end that it's not no element of surprise.
Yeah,
he's got to make great catches and shit. You know, he's a fun player, but it's frustrating that he kind of gives away what's happening when he's in the lineup.
Anyway, he's my Week 9 MVP. No, you just shit on him.
My bad, man. I can't find the damn.
You the real MVP.
My trash. It's a very personal trash this week. This team has been trashed my entire life. Since I was 14, that's when I accepted my fate as a Dolphins fan that will be tortured. But this team has been trashed since then. But on Sunday, they were extra trash because they cost us a lot of money. And I got to say, the New England Patriots, I wish we would have flipped the coin. Might as well have gone with the coin on this game. But we didn't. We went the coin on the other game, and the coin did better than us, who tried to give them benefit of the doubt. They've been having some shine. They got the young quarterback, and they still found a way to fucking lose. And lose our bet. It's probably our fault for betting on them, but I can't call myself trash. I can't call you trash. You're one of my best friends. So because of that, New England Patriots, you are trash! Don't fucking lose to the Titans.
Agreed. My trash this week, it's got to be Dennis Allen and the Saints.
Ooh, I was going to say that, but I knew you would.
We know it's like we like finish each other's sentences at this point.
That's the point.
Yeah, and obviously it's my last chance because he just got fired. So he's trash for so many reasons. I could go on. I could do a whole podcast series on why he's trash. However, there was a tweet from Bill Barnwell that basically just summed it up.
Okay.
The Saints outgained the Panthers in this game by over 150 yards. They ran for over 150 yards, and they won the turnover battle. Over the last 20 years, teams have gone 275 and 0 with that formula.
Wow.
Now they are 275 and 1.
Oh, any stat like that, man. Anything like over 130 and 1, no wonder you got fired. Another one before the season, right? We talked about this. There's so many coaches out there that they could have taken. So many coordinators out there. Why they not courting Anarumo? Why they not courting Ben Johnson? They're just riding it with this guy and fucking with the salary cap.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe now they'll go all ain'ts. They might go full ain'ts for a couple of years.
Their salary cap situation, another thing you could do a multi-episode podcast on, is dire. I mean, it's bad.
This is our 5th season of SveNFL. And I remember in our first season, we were talking about kicking the can. It was the first time in a long time I had heard somebody say kicking the can down the road. And you said it about their salary cap, and they have still not fixed the situation. They just keep kicking it.
I think that next year they're going to be in a situation where over a decade of kicking the can down the road is finally going to catch up with them. They have Taysom Hill.
Voodoo.
They have kicked the can so many times. They have players like Taysom Hill, who accounts for like over a $20 million worth of dead cap money next year because they've restructured his deal so many times. Like, that's the kind of play and they're doing
GM,
the same.
Trying to keep that job.
And they're doing the same thing with Alvin Kamara by offering him a new deal this year. When everybody's out here cutting running backs, the Saints are like, no, we'll give you some more money. They're in cap hell, dude. Like you wouldn't even believe. It's even worse now than it was 5 years ago when we talked about it.
Man, maybe I will dig into that since I won't have any Dolphins to look forward to. Shit got learned. My shit got learned is don't sleep on these Cardinals, man. Don't come in there. Last season, we came in, got this goofy ass head coach saying goofy shit, coming in with this hipster type of attitude. We're like, who are these guys, man? They'll probably be first pick in the draft, and they surprised people. Won more games than expected. They're like, whatever, a little dumb luck. We're ready for them now. We're scheming for them, and you just can't sleep on these guys. They'll sneak up on you and punch you in the fucking mouth. My team found that out last week, and then they proved it again this week. The Cardinals, don't sleep on these guys, man. That's my shit got learned.
My shit got learned is kind of a double dip on the Saints. I just couldn't help myself. I saw this somewhere.
Shout out to Ken.
The Carr brothers, Derek and David, are the biggest losers in NFL history. Okay. No. I saw this stat yesterday.
I gotta leave the room.
I saw this stat yesterday. I'm like Kermit the Frog with the thing coming up.
With the cucumber. You see that?
Okay. I saw this stat yesterday that backs up this claim. Okay. It's basically the most losses for a starting quarterback has had at various points in his career. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
The quarterback with the most losses through 3 seasons, David Carr.
Okay.
The quarterback with the most losses through 5 seasons, also David Carr.
Oh, wow.
The most losses by a quarterback through 6 seasons, David Carr again. 7 seasons, Derek Carr. 8 seasons, Derek Carr. 9, 10, 11 seasons. Wait for it. Derek Carr.
He took the baton.
Yeah.
He took the baton from his brother and he ran. He ran to defeat.
Biggest loser statistically.
Wow.
Legitimately, not opinionated. Just straight up the biggest losers in NFL history.
Wow. That's rough.
Mm-hmm.
Now they have to actively root for somebody to be shitty and a team to stick with it. And the ironic part is that the team that stuck with it is the team that's just fired the coach. And it's gonna make it worse for Derek Carr. Damn.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's pretty bad.
All right. Scariest teams. Your AFC. Oh no, put some Speck.
Mm-hmm.
You got anybody put some Speck on?
My spec is kind of like your shit got learned, actually, which was that Baby Yoda and the Arizona Cardinals. I think there's still a lot of people that see the Cardinals as a soft opponent. I agree with what you said. Mm-hmm. They've won 4 of their last 5, including a defeat of the 49ers. James Conner is destroying defensive lines on the regular. And they're doing this by and large without the Kyler Murray, Marvin Harrison Jr. connection, which hasn't really popped off all that great yet this season. There's been 1 or 2 games where it's been great, but it's been very inconsistent. And also throw in the fact that they're currently occupying the number 1 spot in the NFC West. I mean, in my opinion, I think you ignore these little red birds at your peril. And I honestly think that people need to start putting some fucking Speck on their names.
Yeah, man. A shout out to Jonathan Gannon, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it was the same as our guy Nick Sirianni. It was just like, What is this? What's going on? But it's a new generation, man.
Such a weirdo.
My Speck, you're gonna like my Speck, man.
Kirk Cousins,
Speck.
Let's go.
Yes. Put some Speck on Kirk Cousins, man. People were laughing the Falcons out of the room when the Falcons decided to stick with their gut and go with this guy coming off an injury, and then even go and get their quarterback of the future that they wanted to do. Well, maybe, hey, put some Speck on Kirk Cousins, man. He did his thing in making Minnesota. I just talked about earlier how they had a shitty defense for all those years, and he was still having them win a division at least one of those years. And now they got rid of him, and everybody thought it was over for him. He never got respected in Washington, following behind when they didn't want to pay him, which he parlayed that into getting the first ever fully guaranteed contract when he got on with the Vikings. And then the Vikings kind of cast him aside after his injury, and now he comes to Atlanta, and he's pulling victories out, and now got them leading the division and probably going to run away with the division with a 6-3 record. And it's only going to get better the more he gels and the more he prays. So put some Speck on Kirk Cousins' name, man. I forgot to do it for yours.
Put some respect on my name.
Honestly, put some Speck on all of the Georgia team names. Especially, I thought about this yesterday going into Election Day. I have this theory that I hope over the weekend the Bulldogs pulled out a victory over the Florida Gators. Yeah. You had the Falcons pulling out a victory. Atlanta United, the soccer team, pulled out what everybody thought was going to be a definite L. They beat Lionel Messi and the Inter Miami. And then the Hawks finally won a game on Sunday. So I was thinking to myself, well, at least the sports teams are going to send the people of Georgia into the polling booth with love in their hearts instead of just being like, God damn it.
Yeah, something needs to change.
Everybody's going to be in a good mood. You know what I mean? Because everybody won this weekend. So I'm like, okay, good job, boys. Good job.
Did your kids vote?
Yep.
How did what they vote in Georgia?
Yeah.
Okay, nice, good. I'm glad they voted in Georgia. Nice.
Yeah.
Is your wife a citizen?
Nope.
My wife didn't do it either.
Lazy.
Lazy Swedes, man.
Lazy women.
They hear that whole thing about non-dual thing and they get freaked out. It's like, it's okay. Sweden will recognize it. America just doesn't recognize the dual citizenship. It's not that you can't have it, but they probably will now. You're NATO. See, should have done it. I feel like we got the same scariest teams for me, AFC and NFC. I had Chiefs Lions last week.
Yep.
And
same.
Yeah, so
Same.
So that's it. Our pigskin pick'em leader, I don't think I named it last week. I can look into that right now. Pigskin pick'em.
I had a pretty good week this week.
I forgot to pick a game. I don't know how I missed that game. I think there's somebody sabotaging me, man. I think because I'm in 6th place, which matters most. But this guy Alexander is out here just running away with it, man.
Man, I almost got the score right again. I only missed it by 2 points.
Oh, nice.
Damn.
Nice. Let me see how I did on the score. I picked 112. What was it? No, I'm just kidding. Let me see what I picked for the score.
I think I wrote 52. It was 54.
And I picked 58. Yeah, it was 54. So I was closer. I win. I'm petty.
How are you closer? He went over.
You can't go over? It just says...
I'm thinking like Price is Right's rule.
$1? I think you win, but if you get closest. I was only 4 away. What are you talking about?
Which one? I'm only 2 away.
Oh, I thought you said something else.
I said 52.
Oh, okay. Well done.
Mm-hmm.
You're closer.
Put some Speck on my name, motherfucker. Shit. just because.
No reason whatsoever. I was like, I haven't hit this button in a while.
Don't ask.
None of your business, everybody. It's an inside joke. Consider it an inside joke, everybody.
None of your goddamn business.
All right, man. Oh, you hear the horns. That means,
you know what that means?
It's either the beginning of something great or something fantastic just ended, and that's the case
or
this time.
Or it's the
man.
end of democracy.
Yeah, man. We can only hope that it goes the way we want it to go. It's been Jonathan Rollins.
Skip from Sarah.
With SveNFL. Peace.
Later, y'all.